We know that Canadians are hurting with the cost of living. The cost of rent is up, the cost of mortgage is up, the cost of groceries are up, and the cost of heating their homes are something people are worried about this winter. And given all of this, we saw the Liberal approach to the problem. They divided region against region. They pitted one group against another. That was the wrong approach. It was a divisive approach. And we know the Conservatives don't really have an approach. They don't have a plan to deal with the climate crisis, which we know Canadians are experiencing. Canadians realize is a serious problem. They don't have a plan to deal with it. Our plan is one that brings Canada together. We want to take the GST off of home heating. That's going to give relief to everybody, and it's also going to be permanent. Taking the GST off of home heating obviously will be a permanent relief for all Canadians in all regions. So it's uniting people and giving everyone a break. Secondly, we want to make sure that people can make the right choice. We want to help people lower the cost of heating their homes. And that's why we want to help people get heat pumps. We want to help all Canadians be able to get a heat pump to lower the cost of heating their homes. It's also going to help them do their part to reduce emissions. And we're going to make big oil and gas companies pay for this by putting in place a windfall tax on their excess profits, something that the United Kingdom has done. They've acknowledged that the record profits being made by oil and gas means they should be contributing more fairly. Now, the question is, what are the Liberals and Conservatives going to do tomorrow? If the Conservatives, if Pierre Poilievre is serious about giving people a break, then he will support this motion tomorrow. He'll vote in favor of it. If he doesn't vote in favor of it, it'll show two things. One, that the corporate-controlled Conservatives are too interested in protecting the profits of big oil and gas to support this motion. Or two, they're so opposed to helping people do the right thing by getting a heat pump to lower the cost of heating their home and helping them reduce emissions, that they're voting against a plan to help people lower their costs and fight the climate crisis. If the Liberals vote against this tomorrow, it shows that they are so cynical they want to approach this problem with their divisive, divide the country approach. And they're not interested in giving all Canadians a break. We'll see where they stand tomorrow. It's going to be an opportunity for us to see where the Conservatives going to land. Are they serious about actually giving people help? Or is it political games for them? And they're just trying to play a game. And they're not actually interested in giving people a real break or a permanent break. Or they're so controlled. Corporation, un plan divisif, clairement divisif. Les conservateurs n'ont pas un plan pour faire face à la crise climatique. Donc, notre plan rassemble le pays avec notre mesure d'enlever les TPS sur le chauffage domestique. C'est une mesure qui aide tout le Canada, tous les Canadiens dans toutes les régions. Deuxièmement, on veut aider les gens à acheter des thermopompes. On veut avoir un plan qui donne de l'aide facile, efficace à tout le monde à acheter des thermopompes pour réduire le coût de chauffer leur maison, mais aussi pour réduire leurs émissions. Et finalement, on va payer pour ce plan en taxant les profits excessifs des grandes entreprises pétrolières et gazières. Donc, la question, c'est comment les autres partis vont voter? Est-ce que les libéraux vont appuyer une autre motion qui rassemble le pays ou est-ce qu'ils vont garder leur approche de diviser le pays? Est-ce que les conservateurs sont vraiment intéressés à aider les gens ou est-ce que c'est un jeu politique pour eux et ils veulent protéger les profits des grandes entreprises pétrolières plus d'aider le monde avec un coup de main en levant la TPS? Ça, c'est une question qu'on verra demain, où les autres partis vont voter. With that, I'm ready for any questions you might have.
Mr. Singh, the National Post is reporting that your party is considering ripping up the deal with the Liberals, going on a vote-by-vote basis. Is that something you're looking at right now?
Not at all. Right now, our focus is making sure we deliver for Canadians. We are committed to making sure we deliver on dental care. This is something that Canadians are going to benefit from. It's going to save lots of money for families. It's going to improve the quality of life for a lot of Canadians. Seniors are going to be able to get this dental care program by the end of this year. And that's going to mean millions of people who work their whole life and can't afford to take care of their teeth or living in pain will no longer have to live in pain. So no, we're going to use our power that we have to continue to force this government to deliver. They would love to be let off the hook and not deliver on dental care or pharmacare. They want to continue to protect the profits of billionaires, billionaire pharmaceutical companies, like they've done with the regulatory body that sets the drug prices, where key members of that regulatory body resigned in protest because the Liberal government is more interested in protecting the profits of pharmaceutical companies than protecting Canadians. So no, we're not going to let them off the hook. We're going to make sure that they deliver We're going to force them to deliver. We're going to continue to fight to make sure Canadians get some help, get a break, and we're going to continue fighting for them.
Still fight them on a vote-to-vote basis. So just to be clear, no opportunity right now for the NDP to rip the deal up with the Liberals.
The Conservative or the Liberals would love for us to walk away from the things that we're forcing them to do. And ripping up the agreement would be saying, you're off the hook. Don't worry about dental care. Don't worry about pharmacare. Don't worry about protections for workers. They would love nothing more than not have to do any of that and go vote to vote. But no, we're saying we're going to force you to deliver on the things that Canadians need. Dental care for seniors, kids, and people living disabilities. Pharmacare for all. Making sure we protect workers with anti-scab legislation. We're going to deliver on these things. We're going to force this government to do that. They would love to get off the hook. We're not going to let them off the hook.
Can you talk about why you believe the Liberals are using a regionally divisive approach? Because I believe the announcement about the heating oil exemption and the heat pump programs, those things are applicable to all Canadians. I know maybe in Atlantic regions there's a greater percentage that use home heating oil. But why do you think it's regionally divisive if it's a programs that are applicable to all Canadians? Let's
look at the way it was announced. It was announced with the entire Atlantic caucus behind the Prime Minister. The minister went on air and was asked, why isn't this available everywhere else? And the minister said very clearly, this, if people wanted this relief, they should have voted Liberal. It is very clear that this was a divisive approach. That's, I think, no longer up for debate. What is up for debate is the way they're going to vote tomorrow. And where the Liberals support our measure, which is not divisive. It's a permanent relief for all Canadians to take GST off of home heating to give all Canadians a break this winter. Where are the Liberals going to stand on that? Where are the Conservatives going to stand on the idea of making big oil and gas pay their fair share and helping people make the right choice, the more affordable choice with heat pumps? We're going to see where they stand. That's up for debate, where the Liberals and Conservatives stand. Are the corporate-controlled Conservatives more interested in protecting the profits of large oil and gas companies, or are they more interested in helping Canadians? We're going to see tomorrow.
Mr. Singh, what do you make of the provinces saying that they want to be at the table for the Housing Accelerator Fund as well?
Provinces are concerned about they should be concerned about the housing crisis we're in, and it makes sense that they want to get involved. But let's be clear about the premiers we have in our country. We've got two premiers, one that's been doing this for a while now, a premier of BC who's made it very clear that he's investing in housing, wants to build more affordable homes, and has a very aggressive plan to do so. That's a great partner for the federal government to work with. We've got a new premier in Manitoba who's also made it clear he's interested in building homes that are affordable, and that's another great partner. The Conservative premiers, though, have had opportunities, have surplus budgets, and have not invested in building homes that are affordable and haven't shown themselves to be good partners. I hope that changes, but we've seen Doug Ford's plan as one example of a Conservative premier. His plan to build affordable homes was to give billions of dollars to his rich friends, a plan which is now under investigation by the RCMP for potential corruption. The corrupt Conservatives are more interested in putting money in the pockets of their rich developer friends than helping people build affordable homes. That's a problem, and that's why I see some concerns around partnering for folks that have not shown a commitment to building affordable homes and have in fact done the opposite, have been showing a commitment to putting money into the pockets of rich developers, which hurts everyday families get a home.
So you just said that the Liberals were being regionally divisive by targeting areas that voted Liberal, but you just did the same thing with NDP premiers. Is that a concern for you at all?
Well, I laid out the specific reasons. I talked about good partners when it comes to building affordable homes. And if I said if the premiers are open to building affordable homes, then that would be fine. But we have the evidence in front of us of what the plans are of these Conservative premiers, particularly Doug Ford. His plan is very clear. I don't think the federal government should partner with a premier who gave billions of dollars to his rich developer friends, broke a promise to protect this protected area, the Greenbelt, and did so just cynically to help out his rich friends. That's not something we should be partnering with, no. But yes, if premiers are interested in building homes that are affordable, absolutely the federal government should work with them. I'm just questioning the motives of Conservative premiers who've shown in their track record that they've not invested in building affordable homes, they've not made it a priority, they've not laid out plans to do so, and the only plans we've seen have put billions of dollars in the pockets of rich developers. Those are not plans. On the other hand, we've got clear evidence, not just because of party affiliation, but the Premier of BC has shown clear commitment to building affordable housing, a housing acquisition fund to keep affordable homes affordable, commitments to build cooperatives and not-for-profits, commitments to build homes that are truly affordable. That's a good partner, not based on purely political lines, but it just happens to be that the New Democrat premiers have shown a commitment to doing things that help Canadians, when the Conservative ones have done the opposite. And that's just the facts in front of us. I hope they change, and if they do, we should absolutely work with them.
Interesting. A report from the Environment Commissioner today said that Canada was not on track to meet its 2030 emission reduction plan. What do you think of that?
I'm not surprised that Canada won't meet its emission targets. The Liberals have not met a single one. What's changed? They've never met a target that they've set in the 8 years they've been in power. So it is sadly not surprising that the Commissioner has pointed out they're not going to make their target again. But it is a call to action that clearly the Liberals' approach is not working. Their plan is not working. And that's why we're putting forward our plan. Our plan tomorrow is a clear incentive-based plan. It's a plan that helps people make the right choice, that incentivizes and supports that right choice by saying, first, let's give people a break on their home heating. We know that Canadians need a break. Let's give them a break. And then let's help people buy heat pumps, make the right choice to lower the cost of heating their homes, but also the right choice when it comes to the impact on the environment. And to pay for this program, let's make oil and gas companies pay their fair share. That's a plan that environmental agencies, different environmental groups have said is a good plan. And that's the type of approach we want to take, where we're proactively supporting Canadians make the right choice to reduce emissions. It's clear that the Liberal approach, people are tired of hearing again and again the Liberals promise something and then break that promise. That Justin Trudeau says, here's our target, just to break that target and not meet it. That's something that's frustrating. People are tired of that. That's why we're putting forward our plan, which will actually change that. And the Conservatives have no plan to deal with the climate crisis. They don't think it's a serious issue when we know it is. Our plan is a better plan, and I hope it's supported.
I asked Minister Freeland about your comments yesterday around C56, basically saying the way it is right now, it needs some reforms, specifically about the Competition Act changes, and she basically punted it back to you, saying you need to come on board and support this bill, referencing the GST rebate. Is it safe to say right now that if the Liberals continue this approach where they're basically saying, you know, the NDP needs to come on side, we're not going to make any changes, that the NDP is not going to support this bill?
Let's lay out the scenario that we're in right now. I think it's important for Canadians to have a bit of context here. We know that the cost of food has outpaced general inflation for almost 2 years. People have been saying, this is hard. What do we do? How do we afford our groceries when it keeps on going up week after week, month after month, year after year? People are hurting. The Liberals finally, after 2 years, said, all right, they woke up and realized this is a problem and then decided to do something. But their something was to ask the CEOs nicely to stabilize prices. What a ridiculous plan. And I called it that, and it's a harsh way to say it, but it is ridiculous. To ask the very same CEOs that exploited Canadians for 2 years, to ask them nicely to just stabilize the prices, and then to come out and say, you know what, I don't even know if that's working, because their plan is secret. That is a farce. It is an embarrassment. That is the Liberals' track record on food prices. Our bill is saying we've got to force them to do the right thing. They're not going to do it on their own. So let's strengthen the laws that protect consumers. Let's ban the practices of price gouging and price fixing by putting in severe sanctions if they engage in those practices. Let's strengthen the Competition Bureau's power to hold them to account. And let's stop the mergers that set up these oligopolies. We've got 3 cell phone companies that run the cell phone market in Canada. And no surprise, we have the highest costs in the world for a cell phone and data. We've got 3 grocery stores that run the majority of grocery stores in Canada, and we've got some of the highest grocery prices, or we've seen record high profits for these companies and high prices for Canadians. Again, no surprise. We need more competition, not less, and we need stronger laws. And the Liberals' approach so far is a weak law, and we're saying strengthen the sanctions. If they take our ideas, great. We don't want it doesn't have to be our bill, but it has to be a strong bill with real sanctions that protects Canadians and lowers the cost of food.
You've really been attacking the Conservatives in your speech here, corporate Conservatives you're calling them, but you supported them yesterday on a key motion. I was at your scrum yesterday. I just would like some clarity from you on what the NDP's position is specifically on pausing home heating. Do you want that done?
We want relief for Canadians. That's our goal. And we wanted to make it very clear that we reject the division of the Liberals. We think it's a message of unfairness. We don't like the unfairness. We think it's wrong. We reject it. That was a message we wanted to send loud and clear. We reject the unfairness of the Liberals pitting regions against each other. That's wrong. When it comes to our approach, we have our approach today. We're laying out our approach. Take the GST off of home heating. Let's continue to fight the climate crisis, make it easier for people to get a heat pump. The whole point of carbon pricing is to change behavior. That's really the point of it. The modeling is based on we're going to make it expensive to continue to pollute. That's how you're supposed to change the behavior of big corporations and then individual practices. We're saying let's take the approach of incentivizing and make it easier for people to make the right choice. That's our plan. We laid that plan out today, a plan that's been supported by environmental groups who see, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If our goal is to get people to get to heat pumps, to lower emission, more affordable ways to heat their home, let's make it easier for them to do that. Let's support lower income families, people that have got a high mortgage or saying, I can't afford another cost on top of that. Let's make it easier for them across the country. That's our plan.
Yesterday in the House of Commons, you and a number of other New Democrats stood up and said that you support the idea of pausing the carbon tax on home heating for things like natural gas. So do you actually support that or not, as your vote yesterday would suggest that you do?
Well, our vote yesterday, we're making it very clear. Our vote yesterday was to indicate we reject the unfairness of the Liberals, the division of the Liberals, the pitting region against region of the Liberals. That's what we reject. We also reject the lack of a climate plan of the Conservatives, and I made that very clear, and people can hear it again. The Conservatives don't have a plan to tackle what is a very serious problem. We reject their plan as well. We reject the division of the Liberals. We reject the lack of a climate plan of the Conservatives. We also say the Conservatives aren't serious about giving people a break, because their plan is not going to help all Canadians, not going to help all regions. That's not what they're proposing. That's why we put forward our plan the next day. Today, our plan, what is our plan? Let's help every region of Canada. Every place in Canada, every Canadian should get some relief. That's the GST off home heating. Let's help people get heat pumps. Let's help them make the right choice. And let's make the big oil companies pay for it. That's our plan. That's in front of Canadians. And the question is, how are the Liberals going to vote? How are the Conservatives going to vote? How's Pierre Poilievre going to vote? Is he going to back up his oil and gas buddies and hurt Canadians? Or is he going to stand up and say, yeah, Canadians deserve a break? Not just some Canadians, but all Canadians. We'll see today.
There were a number of NDP MPs yesterday who did not vote on that motion. Was there division in the caucus on what the party should do on this issue?
Not at all. We remain absolutely united on our plan. That's to help all Canadians, to help them get heat pumps, to make big oil and gas pay. We are absolutely united.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about not breaking the supply and confidence agreement or turning into a vote-by-vote basis. On pharmacare, your own party members said that they want you to break the deal if the Liberals don't introduce single-payer universal pharmacare. Are you saying you won't break the deal then if they don't do that?
Well, we're talking about it right now if we're breaking the deal. We're right now, what we're focused on is making the government do what we force them to commit to do. We're going to continue to force them to do things like bringing in dental care. That's a priority for us. We're going to make them do that. We're going to continue to force them to bring in anti-scab legislation, helping out workers, more power for workers, less power for the big bosses. That's the theme of New Democrats. And we want to continue to force them to bring in pharmacare. Our members sent a clear message, which is great. It gives us even more ability to negotiate. And we put that to the Liberals. And we're in those negotiations right now. We're going to continue fighting for people. We know people need a break, and that's why we want to save them money on going to a dentist. We want to get people healthier by making sure they can go see a dentist. We want to make sure people don't have to worry about the cost of medication. It's so expensive. For so many people, they end up not choosing to buy medication. Even if they have coverage, sometimes the coverage is not good enough, and they don't end up getting the medication they need. We believe that it should be included in our healthcare, and we're forcing the government to deliver on those things. Merci, thanks so much.